Hi. I'm going to talk a little more about awareness because to me, well, as you probably already figured out, it's who we are. It's what we are. It's the way we operate, the way we get through this life is through our awareness. Without it, we would, well, kind of in bad shape, I guess. Be dead. To me, awareness, consciousness is a gift. And where does that gift come from? Well, nobody really knows. There's so much we really don't know. We just know that somehow we're born into the world and we're conscious. We look around and we see, and we just take it for granted. Honestly, we do. It's just the way it is. It's a miracle. It really is a miracle. Yet we don't see it as a miracle because it's been with us from when we were just tiny. So we just take it for granted, actually. It's like we tend to take a lot of things for granted, but we take that for granted more than anything else, I think, is this miraculous consciousness that we have, this miraculous awareness that we have. And what I'm trying to talk about here, and what I'm trying to say in my admittedly clumsy way, is it's really important to touch your consciousness, touch the depths, touch the miracle of consciousness, because it's who you are. It's the spring which you spring from. It's the life force that is you. Is this wonderful consciousness. I mean, we all know that you can be disabled really, and still do a lot just with your mind, with being able to think and to be aware. I mean, it's just really an amazing thing to me. So if you can stop periodically, just sit very quiet and look at this miracle. I know you probably think I've lost my mind. No pun intended there. But that you're a sitting miracle. The fact that I'm talking to you right now and that you're listening to this right now is really a miracle. I mean, how many millions of dollars? I mean, it's impossible for us to recreate this. I mean, we have on some level with the computer and with our various technology. But gosh, the human being and what the human being is made of, the mind and the abilities that we have are just, you cannot recreate them. So we are pretty amazing. Unfortunately, the mind that we operate from, the conditioned mind, the programming that has been going on for many years for most of us, seems to be rattling on so much that this level of consciousness, this sweetness, this knowing, this what I'll call higher consciousness for I just can't think of what to call it, but for a more meaningful consciousness. The mind is constantly, busy, thinking of this, thinking of that, rattling on, blah, blah, blah. So the stillness of the original consciousness, and some teachers actually call it the original face, the original you that was born from your mother, that was untouched, unconditioned, was simple. We never look at that part. It's like it's just gone. But it's there. It hasn't gone anywhere. You have a very simple little person there that is very sweet, untouched, unconditioned, and it has been layered with memory, has been layered with reaction from the nervous system almost, through the nervous system. It reacts, like I said earlier in my other little clip. And the only way that you can realize that you're being played, really, is to work on touching that space. And these things are very, very hard to talk about. That's why we sometimes give up and don't talk about it. But I just know that it's so valuable for us to touch that space, that stillness, that little simplicity, that little person that is still there, that has never been touched by anything and cannot be touched by anything. I mean, we can go through all kinds of stuff. I mean, you have carried that simplicity, that consciousness, that seeing, that awareness with you from the very beginning. and it doesn't go anywhere. You can't. It's like a beam of light. You know, if a beam of light is shining through the window, you can stomp on it and stamp on it and roll on it and do everything. You cannot erase it. Well, that's what our consciousness is like. It's like a beam of light that just keeps on beaming, and you cannot stomp it out. You cannot put it out. So that's what you are. You are a beam of light that cannot be stomped out. You're eternally, well, I can get into that, but you are eternally light, energy, and being manifested. So how do you live in that light? The only way you can live in that light is to recognize it. And most of the time we don't. Most of the time we don't recognize it at all. We don't give it any breathing air. It's just totally shut out by this rattling on with, you know, conditioned behavior. And one reason why I'm doing these tapes, I think, is to try to share with you the importance of strengthening that muscle. You know, I talked about insanity and the meaning of insanity, which is doing the same thing over and over again and getting the same result in our life and wondering, why me? Well, why you is because you're not conscious. I mean, you're not living in that higher consciousness. You're not living from that. You're living from conditioned personality. And we all do it. There's nothing wrong here. It's just a matter of being born into a society, into a world where everybody's running around like automatons, reacting and not being really aware of the possibility of not having constructive behavior, or destructive behavior, and not having constructive behavior. So we have to figure out how we can just stop it, put a stop to it. And this is my attempt, is to help those of you who are interested, who want to live a more productive life, who want to become more conscious, who want to, in my estimation, this is what enlightenment is. Enlightenment is not, you know, airy-fairy, you know, I mean, you can have moments of elation, moments of bliss, moments of nirvana. I mean, you can have those moments, but they don't last. You know, I mean, you can sit down and meditate and be all at peace with the world, but then, you know, you get into traffic outside and it's bumper to bumper and everybody's hot, and then you can lose that. I mean, you know you can. So I feel like in life, living life, and having in relationship, I've said this before, in relationship is where it manifests the most, the possibility of being conscious, because of the friction that is possible in a relationship. So in that, the slowing down, the looking at what is happening right now, what do I choose, what do I want the outcome to be, is it's really necessary to touch that space. And throughout your day, even when you're alone, doing dishes, you know, vacuuming, going to the grocery, going to work, in the car, whatever you're doing, you can stop for a moment and respect that consciousness, that you, that never goes anywhere, that beam of light that is there with you. It's a sweetness, really. There's a sweetness to it. It's like, oh my gosh, what a gift. I'm conscious, I'm here, and this is me, and this has been with me forever. If you look back when you were 2, 3 years old, 4 years old, 5 years old, I don't know how far your memory goes back, but if you look into your life, you can remember those. You can remember you that existed when you were 3. Well, it's still there. You have not gone anywhere. You just had layers and layers of stuff piled on top of you. But you, the original you, cannot be destroyed. And to bring a more peaceful, harmonious life into your experience, there has to be a respect of that place and building that muscle up, bringing it into your life more. It's an ongoing work, but it's a sweet kind of work, and it's the only reason I am convinced it's the only reason we're here on this planet. And that is to, and I'll use the word evolve, pardon me folks, some of you don't believe in all that, but we're evolving, I believe, into creatures of higher consciousness, to care and to love and to be creative and productive in a very chaotic environment. More on that later.